The other influential person in the neighborhood, other than Ed, was Leroy Adams. Yeah,
Leroy. When Leroy was also played for the team I played for.
Leroy Adams.
Right. So when I first moved to Joliet, the coach, this was like low budget football. Like it would be like Class A of baseball.
Right.
So they had gotten hotel rooms for us to come to camp. And the hotel was like a flea bag place where transients lived.
Right. Or prostitutes and
prostitutes, and where you had to go in and there was like one bathroom in the middle. So you didn't even have your own bathroom in there. Communal. And the bathroom was all rusty and the toilets were all rusty. So the first...
You're like the replacement.
Yeah, so here I am on my way. I had decided, I had gotten offered to play the work for Arthur Anderson. Because one of the boosters was an Arthur Anderson partner.
Okay.
So he always liked me. So he was offering me a job to work for Arthur Anderson. And I didn't want to do that, so I decided to go to Joliet to try and
play with
and work myself up to the bigs. So I checked in to the hotel and I looked at it and I said, "Oh man, this is really bad." So I kind of...
Man, you grew up in the ghetto. What you got, snooty all of a sudden?
Yeah,
what's that about?
Because I went to UC where we had our own dorm rooms.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I got used to dorm rooms and having your own bathroom and that sort of stuff. So that first night I spread my on the spread. I spread the spread over the bed and slept on top of it. And so then when I had to go to in the bathroom, I made sure that I had my shower shoes on and everything.
Right.
So they had got me a day job working for Uniworld, a big tire company, at this ammunition plant. So what happened was when I left home, I had like $40-something to my name, going up to Joliet, 300 miles away.
Right, with a little munchkin.
Started my living, and you were like 2 days old.
Right. The blessed event was 2 days. I prefer you call me the blessed event. Can you start doing that?
Can I say blessed event / byproduct?
All right, that's a compromise. That's a compromise.
All right. So, I leave Cincinnati, and there's this place called it's right before Indianapolis, and it's like they make their living on giving you tickets for speeding.
Oh, right.
So police pulled me in for speeding and said you gotta go in and see the justice of the peace. So now I got like $40-something to my name.
You got a ticket.
And there was no credit card or nothing either.
No.
So I go in and it turns out the justice of the peace is his living room. So when he says he's gonna charge me $1 in costs, I said, okay, I'm gonna just plead guilty. $1 in cost.
But there's a price to it.
Yeah, well, cost was $29. So now I have to give him $30 of my $41. So when I hit Joliet, I got $11 in my pocket, and probably half a tank of gas.
So it's cutting it close, my friend.
Yeah. So
cutting it close.
So the first night I go out and I eat about a few White Castles.
Again,
get me through the night. So I'm sitting
burger of the gods.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, just think if a hamburger was a Krispy Kreme donut. Was that a good analogy, or?
Well, only for certain people. Because a Krispy Kreme is probably loved universally by highfalutin and lowfalutin.
That's true.
So anyway, I got I went to work that day, and one of the controller of the Uniroyal came in because he was a football booster. He loved the football. He says, "Hey, I understand that you're going to be trying out with the Chargers." I said, "Yep." He said, well, are you situated? I said, well, yeah. I said, what happened? Earlier today, I went over, I found this boarding room house, and I gave her like $10 for the week's rent. I'm going to be moving in there. And he said, well, you get living expenses when you move up here as a new employee. I said, living expenses? He said, yeah.
Nice.
He said, draw some money out, and then whatever you think it's going to cost you to live for 30 days,
Yeah, and then they'll probably take it out of your first check.
No,
it's all this. Yeah,
part of the
that's part of the
package.
package. Right.
Man, I moved into the Holiday Inn. I told the lady she could keep the $12. So for the first 30 days I'm up there, I'm living in the Holiday Inn.
Living
but
large.
For me, Holiday Inn was like living in
the Ritz.
In the Ritz, because I hadn't been in any hotels other than traveling with the football team. So
Right.
that's how I started out, and then.
But how did you meet Leroy? Just from?
Well, what happened was I was going around town early before the season started, and I'd walk in the club, and a lady would walk up to me and say, "Leroy, you know such and such," and I said, "Leroy," and then they would say, "Oh, you're not Leroy, are you?" And I said, "No, I just thought they would come and hit me because I'm handsome, right?" So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm handsome, I got my football bill going on.
Yeah, right.
I can see you walking up trying to hit on me, So then every place I would go, people would say something about Leroy. So finally, the first day of practice, he walks in the locker room, and I look at him, and he looks at me. It's like I said, "Uh-oh."
That's right. You have a double game.
Right. So I had to get the word out that my father used to go to Oklahoma quite often.
Muggy.
Yeah, because I knew right away that he and I gonna catch hell, because the players are gonna start saying, "Well, who's dead?" Where, right? So I threw mine out there first. I said, my father used to live in Oklahoma, which I just had made that up. But I wanted to get it out there before he come tell me that his father used to
have it on record.
Cincinnati, right?
You have it on record.
Correct. So I got mine out there first, and so then we become like good friends too.
Oh yeah.
And then he introduces me to his Alice.
Yeah,
she
his
has
wife.
this little boy, and he looks like you.
Yeah. That used to happen a lot. Yeah.
And there were times where I would come down the street and I would think that you were playing in the yard, and it would be him.
Right.
And so here, we aren't even related, but
there's a big cross thing going on.
And so I still say my dad used to go to Oklahoma, because that's a better story for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I gotta look at my mama's chest.
Yeah. You don't want to look at Granny like that. You can't look at Granny like that.
And so the players start, joking around all the time because we look so much alike. And people would get us mixed up all the time. Now, he was actually 2 inches taller than I was, but we had like the same skin tones.
Right.
And, the same kind of cheeks.
Right.
So
his influence on me was he used to...
I can tell you what his influence was. He was a football fool. He would have the Pampers set up in this living room, and he'd make you guys run the pamper drill. and then he had like a little hill on the side of his house.
Yeah, that was what I remember.
And he would like throw passes where you guys would have to dive down.
Yeah, dive down the hill, catch it.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens.
Right.
Even if a Mack truck comes, I want you catching that ball.
Right.
And
exactly.
to this day, I thank him, because I was a receiver all throughout my football career.
Right. He was a football fanatic. And Leroy used to make some hits. If he had gone to a major school where he could have been seen, he could have been a major pro football player. He was like the best football player I ever played with.
Wow. Linebacker, right?
Yeah, he was a linebacker too.
Right. And he used to let us, because his kids were my best friends.
Right.
We had a Ford up in the garage, but then he was married to a woman whose dad owned a barbecue joint.
Yeah.
So little black kids with free barbecue. You kidding me?
Right.
Woo! Thank you, Leroy.
Well, that